Oh,
Renee, I gave you the option to record yourself. If you want to record it, you can do that on your phone.
I'm recording, Stan. Thank you.
okay. Well, let's get this started. And thank you for coming to the Zoomathon for the Philanthropreneur Foundation. And our next speaker is Renee Smith. And she's going to bring forth some motivational tips. And I'm going to let you introduce yourself. And then now the stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure, Dr. Victoria, to be allowed to speak on your platform today. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
My name is Renee Smith Broder, and I'm owner of Coast to Coast Printing and Marketing and American Badass Apparel. So I am your American Badass woman. Today, my topic that I'm speaking about is about perseverance. And I'm no new student of perseverance. I'm a Route 91 survivor. I'm a victim of emotional abuse coming out of a bad relationship. I actually endured and was homeless for about 3 weeks, which I'm going to be a part of my story. And now the pandemic of 2020. So it's taken a lot of perseverance to succeed. And now I operate a 6-figure business here in the state of Nevada, headquartered here in Las Vegas, Nevada. So, of course, it took a lot of no quitting moments. So I just want everybody to be present in this topic. And let's imagine, and go back to where, we built our business on a dream, and our dream this year crashed into reality with COVID-19. In January 2020, my business, Coast to Coast Printing and Marketing, we doubled our first quarter financials from last year. We had just picked up a new client and was about to do on-site apparel events for soccer tournaments traveling the country with a team, just about to complete a new event app to go with our live events. And then by March 7th, the NBA had been advised to prepare to play without fans. On March 11th, COVID-19 was declared a pandemic. As a company, our live events were canceled. Our phones stopped ringing during that time. It was a time of panic, and it was a time of chaos for many of us. There was a lot of us facing what were we going to do? If we didn't pivot our businesses at that time, we came to a point where we were facing possibly losing our businesses, closing our businesses down. We were all quarantined at home, and a lot of us entered anxiety, some of us even depression. And one of my friends that is a coach and professor at UNLV that coaches businesses said there was people actually on the floor calling him, on the floor curled up, wondering what to do. Everything had stopped in their world. But one of the greatest qualities of champions and successful people is perseverance. So what is perseverance, and how does it relate to us during this time? Perseverance is a quality that creates winners. It's a determining to keep on going despite facing obstacles. None of us are new to facing obstacles today. There's people on this Zoom call, including Kathy Rickley, who's facing obstacles that she never thought that she would possibly ever face in the face of a pandemic. It's that inner drive that keeps you in the game when everything else says it's time to quit. It's resolving to put one foot after another when the finish line is nowhere in sight. We're all dealing with uncertainty right now. We're going into phase 2, but what does that mean? The uncertainty is so real in what we're facing right now. The year 2020, the year shit got real. So perseverance is a series of bridges for crossing the rivers of adversity as you pursue your vision for success. want everybody to come into the present right now. Because when you're in the present, you want to feel it in your heart, you want to mean it in your mind, and you want to believe it in your body. Put your hand over your heart and do this exercise with me, guys. God will not give, I want you to repeat after me. God will not give me more than I can handle. God, everybody repeat it, please. God will not give me more than I can handle. Feel it in your heart. Or your divine being will not give you more than you can handle if you're not a Christian. God will not give me more than I can handle. God will not give me more than I can handle. Now point to the screen or point to the person next to you if someone's in the room. God will not give you more than you can handle. This comes from 1 Corinthians 10:13. And this has been such a brick and foundation my entire life since I was a youth. When I was being bullied as a child, I held on to this steadfastly and I believed in it no matter what I went through in life. I held on to this and I've always have come back to this term whenever things have gotten tough. Because life is not always easy. Life sometimes is just brutal and hard. Going back to one of my stories. So I started in the print industry in 2008. I was a hospitality worker. And so I was living in Destin, Florida, and we were going through a lot of hurricanes. We had just come out of Deep Horizon with the BP oil spill. And I was at the crossroads of what I was going to do in my life. Because the hospitality business was not very good, kind of like where we are right now in 2020 here in Las Vegas. I took the company's business from a bedroom in his house to a 4,000 square foot facility in less than a year. In 2010, it came to a crossroads where I had to decide if I was going to sign non-competes, non-disclosures with this business, or I was going to go out on my own. A lot of deciding factors came in to play with this, including them wanting to take a percentage of my income from magazine sales that I had that I should have had residuals on. So I found myself through moral and making sure I did things right. I actually picked up from living in Destin, Florida, when I decided to go out on my own and move to New Orleans. I took a business partner at this time, that somebody I was working with, and we moved to New Orleans. She was struggling some financial difficulties before we even partnered up, and she was behind on our Lexus payments. And so we took pretty much all of what we had for money and threw it at her payments so she didn't have her vehicle repossessed. We were living with one of her boyfriends at the time. Well, her boyfriend got jealous of me and locked me out of the house. Everything that I had during this time was in this house. I was faced with homelessness for the first time in my life. This is a person that is so goal-driven in life that I didn't think I could ever be there, but I knew if ever anything ever happened like that, I would get through it because I'm a survivor and I'm gonna get through most obstacles. And I believe in that, going back to 1 Corinthians. But what did I do during that time? I had a van. They finally brought me some pillows and blankets out. So at least I had some of that and my clothes. But I had my van and I got up every day and I showed up. I had my laptop. I would go to the gas station. I would get ready, do a big spigot in one of the gas stations, wash my hair, iron my clothes, and show up for the day. And I would go and knock on doors. And I continued to bring business in, and nobody knew my struggles that I was going through. I knocked on doors. Within 3 weeks, I was able to bring myself up and get into a situation where I was a home sitter for a couple in Baton Rouge. And I continued to do this, and I worked myself up to where I was able to get into my own place. My business was thriving. by that time because I did not give up. We need to know that our story and our journey is to prepare us for our purpose in life. Our purpose in life is different to all people. If we didn't go through that, would I be able to relate to people that may be going through the same struggles or something even similar? The same time when I went through Route 91, being a veteran advocate, going through Route 91 and being a survivor of that deadly day, I'm able to relate more to the veterans with PTSD that I work with on an everyday basis. But our trials develop godly character, and this enables us to rejoice in our sufferings because we know that the suffering produces perseverance, character, and character, hope, not only in ourselves, but be able to bring hope to others. How do we practice perseverance? For most people, the typical journey to achieving success spans over several years, sometimes even decades. What should one do to keep on going? How do you cope with the frustration? How do you keep on walking in the desert when you're thirsty and there's no more water in sight? You can relate, I'm sure, right now, guys. We're all going through this journey. We're all going through these struggles. But what you need to do is to make your vision board. This should have been done in the first of the year, and we'll get to that. But write out your short-term, your 5-year, and your long-term goals, and don't be afraid to change your goals. I just had this conversation not too long ago with one of my friends. I was getting stressed out. I was becoming frustrated because my goals at the beginning of the year, because of the uncertainty, I couldn't fulfill them. I had to actually rip up my goals, and I had to actually rewrite them to what I can actually control in the moment. What can we control in the moment? We might be able not to control where our business is going to take the journey financially, but we can control, one, our spiritual walk, whatever that may be. We can control our self-help and educating ourselves. We can control our families. These are things that we can control. Our long-term goals are not a sprint. Our goals are a marathon, and we need to keep that in mind. Remember that day one is not the most important day of your goal, but the day after perfect is. It comes from the book Finish. What a great book if you haven't read it. When your dreams mean everything to you and you believe that you can succeed, then by all means you need to keep on going. You need to know that you are exactly where you are and where you need to be today, and all of the power is about being in the present. Our present is what we can control. Our power is in the now. It's in the present. I stole this from Jay Shetty, who's having a challenge right now. You're not behind, you're not ahead, you're exactly where you need to be. Remember that. Persevering proves our faith. And when I say faith, I'm not just talking about our walk with God, or our higher being, but our faith in ourselves. We need to have faith in ourselves. As a Christian, I'm going to ask you to put your hand over your heart again, and I'm going to ask you to come into the present. And remember, when you're in the present, you want to feel it in your heart, you want to mean it in your mind, and you want to believe it in your body, because this is what's going to bring you through the struggles and the challenges. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Now point to the person in front of you or next to you. You can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. So in closing today, I want you to take away these points. The more you persevere, the better you become at it. Perseverance is an ongoing process, and small wins here and there are to be cherished. These are important to remember, guys. If you keep persevering long enough, you're going to achieve your true potential. And just remember, you can do anything you set your mind to, but it takes persistence and the courage to face your fears. I'm going to leave you with this today. It's a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, and I want you to feel it. Our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in rising up every time we fail. I thank you all for this time to share my message today. And I hope that you'll be able to hear from me more often, because I have a lot of stories and I've struggled and I've been where a lot of people are today. And one of my goals this year was to build a platform, and I'm working with speaker coaches such as Al and to become a keynote speaker, because my vision that just came into my heart was there's a lot of lives that I need to touch through my story. And if I don't get out there and I don't share my story, I'm being selfish. So thank you for allowing me to share. Thank you. You need to put your volume up, guys. I can't hear you. You can unmute. Unmute.
Yep, I was being polite and I muted myself. And yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to do some wrap up things. First, I want to stop this recording.